Welcome to episode number 241 of the Beyond Social Media Show, the podcast for all of you marketing, advertising, public relations, and communications professionals. We are recording live on YouTube on September 21, 2018. We are back, and we'll explain that in the show eventually. But first, the topics this week include Make Twitter Twitter Again, No Degree Required, Media Takeover to Vote, First Dance with Mary Jane, Dancing Tips, Bud Light's Victory Fridges, Social Media Gurus Updated, Underground AR, Tattoo the Meats, We Got Hacked, No Raise for You, A Poisonous Lesson, New Prince video, and BL kicks it off with Best Story of the Week. BL, what was the best story of the week?
Well, as you know, I'm a major fan of Twitter, and I was very happy to see that Twitter is going to get to be more like Twitter, because they have been forcing on us for a long time the way they want you to see things. So now they are going to go back to allowing you to have your feed chronologically, and they started this in case you missed it thing, which is showing you people who you often interact with, I guess. I don't know how that algorithm works, but you had no way to just go to the new stuff. And so now Twitter support, which has suddenly become very active on Twitter, says that we're working on providing you with an easily accessible way to switch between a timeline of tweets that are most relevant for you and a timeline of the latest tweets. So you'll see this being tested in the next few weeks, and they updated the show the best tweets first setting. So when that's off, you'll only see tweets from people you follow in reverse chronological order. Previously, when you turned it off, you'd also see in case you missed it. So far, I've changed that setting, and I'm still seeing in case you missed it, but soon it'll be right within the Twitter interface that you'll be able to switch back and forth instead of being buried in several layers of settings. But I think Jason Kotke had a better idea. He suggested that what Twitter needs is smart tweets that use the same simple mechanism people already use to control their timelines. He said instead of adding tabs to the interface or throwing random stuff in our faces, that there should be smart accounts that would be based on each user's particular activity. Then you could have a fully chronological timeline, but also see tweets from the smart accounts according to your particular preferences. So for example, seeing likes from people you follow is fun and interesting. The serendipity and relevance factors are high. So likes from friends in a smart account would post tweets that your friends have liked recently, and then you could see how many you wanted to look at of those. And in case you missed it, just like the new feature, except you can follow and unfollow and control the frequency. So right now it's just always there. And then trends, an account that posts tweets related to trending stories, or maybe just alerts you that Mario Kart is trending. Excuse me. You can see global trends, whatever. So that would, and see X number of tweets. I think his idea is a better one than the one that they're going to give us, but that's just the way it is. But at least it'll be back to being Twitter.
You know what? Those all sound great, but what I'd really like is automatic lists. So I don't have to add people to lists that I want to follow. So it should just be able to figure out that I follow a lot of advertising people, or I follow a lot of PR people, or a lot of sports people, or a lot of athletes, a lot of Minnesota Vikings, right? And just sort those into lists for me. So the information's there. They should be able to do it.
Well, what I want to see more than anything, and they're not giving it to us, is edits. Instead of having to delete the tweet because you saw you misspell something and then do it again, just let us edit the tweets. But that could be dangerous for certain individuals.
You're right. So this is apropos of not that. This is a good story or a good development. This is a lot of people reported on it, but CNBC's Courtney Collinley. Oh man, I don't know. Anyway, she reports on a Glassdoor list. They've compiled the list. The job search site Glassdoor has compiled the list of the top 15 employers that say they are no longer requiring applicants to have a college degree. College companies include Google, Apple, IBM, Ernst & Young. The article cites an IBM vice president of talent, Jonah Daly, who said that about 15% of that company's U.S. hires don't have a 4-year degree. She said that instead of looking exclusively at candidates who went to college, IBM now looks at candidates who have hands-on experience via coding boot camps or industry-related vocational classes, which is a great development. There's never been a time where you can demonstrate your skills or demonstrate your experience or demonstrate your talent for an employer without having to have a formal education to do so. So it's a great development.
It's an interesting development too. I mean, you know, that starts to work against you as you get older, however, and your experiences start to be too many. So I don't know. I don't know the answer. There is a posthumous Prince video that came out yesterday in advance of today's release of his posthumous album, Piano and a Microphone, 1983. The Prince Estate and Warner Brothers Records released both of them, and the new music video is Prince's track of Mary Don't You Weep, and it's the first official Prince clip released since his death, and it's an anti-gun message. It captures the suffering of a mother over the gun death of her son, immersing the viewer, it's really intense, immersing the viewer palpably into the grief of the entire family, showing their moments at home and how they're affected at church, on the altar, when they have to say goodbye after the funeral, all those horrible things that happen after a death in the family. And it's directed by Solomon Ligtham and produced out of Stink Films. The film makes an overt statement about the agony endured by the families. You can't miss it. And it continues Prince's 2515 activist message in Baltimore after Freddie Gray was murdered. So he's the one who died, one of the ones who died under custody of local police following his illegal arrest. So the people included in the Baltimore protest song, the line included in the Baltimore protest song ended, "The system is broken, it's going to take young people to fix it. We need new ideas and new life." And that line appears at the opening of the new video. It's really powerful. We'll put it in the show notes.
Wow, I'll have to check it out. Paisley Park is just down the road from me, so it's good to see that they're opening some of the vault, and especially such a powerful version of what's in the vault, in Prince's vault. So very cool. Well, from no transition here, except this is another interesting development from Bloomberg News. Coca-Cola says they're monitoring the new marijuana industry. So they're interested in drinks infused with CBD, which is the non-psychoactive ingredient in marijuana that treats pain, but it doesn't get you high. Coke is in talks with a Canadian company, a marijuana producer named Aurora Cannabis Inc., to develop the beverages. They have already been, the company Coca-Cola, that is, has already been diversifying as consumption of soda declines. They announced recently that they're acquiring Costa Coffee chain for $5.1 billion. That was last month. And they've expanded into other products, including juice and tea and mineral water over the past decade. But the discussions with Aurora are focused on the CBD infused drinks to ease inflammation, pain, and cramping. There's no guarantees of a deal, but it is an interesting development because that industry is huge, and it's not even entirely legal in the United States, but it continues to grow. So we'll keep an eye on that ourselves.
CBD is legal throughout the United States. Products with CBD are legal. And at this point in time, you can start a CBD business with a franchise for a mere $15,000. And it's something to consider seriously going forward. You know, I give CBD oil to Benny, my dog, for his arthritis, and it seems to help him.
I don't think it's legal in every state. I don't think it's legal in Minnesota. I think you need
Oh, well,
prescription
most
for that.
states though, and it will be legal. I mean, there's, it will. It all will be very soon. I'm quite sure of it. If I had $15,000, I'd be buying a franchise right now. So, this is along the lines of the wonderful things that are happening in the world. A group of brands and media have gotten together in a nonpartisan campaign to promote voting. And this is from a story by Kylie O'Brien in The Drum. And National Voter Registration Day is September 25th. That is around the corner, folks. And so more than a dozen media, entertainment, and consumer brands have joined together in a media shutdown on their own platforms, and they're going to push a single message on that date. Register now, vote November 6th. The shutdown will last 3 minutes, which is exactly the amount of time it takes to register to vote. And then through National Voter Registration Day, digital influencers will release content around the theme, register while you wait. And the content will remind fan bases that registering or checking to make sure you're registered is quick and easy. And then there is the Civic Culture Coalition that the companies have formed. And they launched a website called I Am a Voter, and it's a nonpartisan public awareness campaign that aims to increase the turnout. And it notes, and this is astounding, if 50% of voters vote this November, it will be the biggest midterm election turnout in American history. I Am a Voter is the public awareness campaign, wants to create a whole cultural shift around voting and civic engagement by uniting around a central truth, and that is our democracy works best when we all participate. And the campaign is going to use storytelling from PSAs to conversational content to mobilize the public to take a pledge to be a voter and get involved with partnering nonprofit organizations. So on the I Am a Voter website, you can register now and volunteer to register others. And there's also a user-friendly text message platform that invites Americans to text voter to 26797, and then you will get up-to-the-minute election updates and reminders and everything that you need to cast your ballot and engage with all of the tools. So the participating organizations include the Ad Council, AMC Theaters, Anonymous Content, ATTN, Awesomeness TV, Bad Robot, Creative Artists Agency, DoSomething.org, Entertainment Industry Foundation, iHeartMedia, Lyft, SB Projects, Toms, Tumblr, Univision Communications, Vice Media, and many others. And they also have a toolkit with content guides for you to participate. It's a wonderful campaign. Please take a look at it.
Very, very good. We in Minnesota typically have high voter rates, but we can always use higher voting rates, and people who aren't registered don't vote, so they're not counted. So you gotta get out there and get registered and get. I actually think, I haven't ever really thought this, but I actually think it should be required to vote. People should be required to vote.
I think you're right. That would be a really great idea, actually.
Yeah.
Although,
So
how would you make them? How would you make them do it?
Tax them if they don't. Find them if they don't. Anyway, this is a very cool story from Boing Boing, but Andrea James wrote about it. It is a the GIS Utilities is a company that creates a AR visualization platform for utilities. Basically, it lets you see where pipes and other infrastructure are located underground. So if you're a utility or somebody who's doing construction, then you know where all the pipes are, know where the power cords are, so you don't accidentally cut them off for a gas line. Those things are dangerous, so it's important to know that. But this is very cool application of augmented reality technology to show you just where they are. It's designed specifically, obviously, with utilities, municipalities, and GIS service providers in mind. It converts traditional 2D GIS, Global Information System, that's the acronym, data for into 3D visuals. It supports augmented reality for Android and iOS, mixed reality for HoloLens, and virtual reality as well. And we'll put a video of a demonstration video of it in the show notes.
That's a fantastic thing to have. I mean, these accidents that happen, this could prevent them. That's phenomenal. So I wasn't 100% sure if I wanted to put this next one in the best things that happened or the worst. There's a little of both, if you ask me. But the NFL has decided to take a light approach to their marketing in a time when they're surrounded by serious issues, such as controversies involving players who kneel during the national anthem and to protest racial inequities and accusations of domestic violence and brain damage to the players, but they decided in any case to have some fun with their marketing. I'm not sure if I'm happy about it, but it is fun. The NFL has decided that they were going to get rid of the title, the No Fun League, and make the elaborate touchdown celebrations that they banned in the past into the focus of a new campaign. So the campaign is called Get Ready to Celebrate, and it shows the players getting advice from celebrities in their end zone dances. They're hilarious. One ad is called Burner Phone, and it features Andy Garcia, known for his roles in The Godfather 3 and Ocean's 11, advising LA Rams star running back Todd Gurney in a mobster-inspiring scenes, and he keeps switching phones when he's talking to him. He said, "I gotta call you back. I gotta call you back." And then when he finally gives him the advice, it's do the hokey pokey. Another ad is called Catwalk, and that stars J.B. Smoove from Curb Your Enthusiasm, counseling Carolina Panther Christian McCaffrey to channel his inner Panther and climb up on the goalpost, show his claws, and wag his tail, and then wait for the cops to come get him down.
Those are great. Those are great.
Yeah, they're funny. They really are.
I like it. So speaking of the NFL, Katie Riches of Adweek had a story a while ago that I have been wanting to talk about, and this is the perfect time to talk about it. Before the NFL season, this season, Bud Light created a Cleveland Browns victory fridge. And they placed these victory fridges in local bars, and also stationed some at Cleveland's First Energy Stadium where the Browns play. A victory fridge comes stocked with ice cold Bud Light, of course, but there's also a catch. Each of the victory fridges will remain locked until the Browns clinch their first win of this season. And the reason that's important is because the Browns haven't won in a long, long time. Like the entire last season, they did not win a game, right? So the fridges have these big chains and locks placed around them. Each victory fridge will automatically unlock electronically as soon as the Browns win a game this season. The Browns' first game, so there have been two games played so far this season. The Browns' first game of the season wasn't quite a win. It wasn't a loss, though. They tied the Pittsburgh Steelers during the first game. But then last night, they played on Thursday night, and the Browns beat the New York Jets for the first win in 635 days. And then SB Nation reported on the jubilee that followed. The locks came off. The Cleveland police tweeted, "We won!" Wait, oh God. The free beer thing. Okay, Cleveland, stay calm. Go Browns. And then Bud Light tweeted a GIF of the fridge opening. Fans posted video of the fridges opening in bars to much happiness. Last year, Bud Light tweeted that if the Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl, they would pay the bar tab would be on Bud Light, and they stuck to their word and handed out free beers along the parade route. So some very clever marketing on Bud Light. Not only it was just basically earned media they got, both when they announced the thing before the season started, and then once the Browns got their win, because it was likely they were going to get at least one win this year.
Well, sooner or later.
Yeah.
But I mean, then there's the drunk driving issue, but let's not go into that. So I periodically, since 2009, I have used Follower Wonk to see how people who handle social media, who work in the field, describe themselves. And that started when I was horrified to see that there were thousands of people calling themselves social media gurus. And then and now, a guru is something someone else calls you. So I've occasionally searched the Twitter bios and to see how people identify themselves. In 2018, there are a lot more social media strategists, consultants, experts, and agencies than there were in 2014 or 2015. There are fewer, thank goodness, social media ninjas, evangelists, pros, whores, and wonks, but not that many less. And Twitter bios, I believe, are still limited to 140 characters. So whatever you say in there has to be an essential description, but you're still gurus. Back in 2014, there were 9,303 self-appointed social media gurus. And today, incredibly, there are still 5,686 social media gurus on Twitter. So one thing that hasn't changed, that's not something you call yourself.
or a whore, a social media whore.
And there's social media king and queen this time. We didn't have those last
interesting.
time. And divas. There's like 35 divas.
That's kind of tongue in cheek. I could see that.
Yeah, well,
I wouldn't do it. Yeah.
What do you call yourself?
I don't even know, but it's probably a marketer or content marketer or something like that. I don't know. I just utilitarian, what people are searching for.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's all my good news.
It's all my good news too. Let's get to the worst. What do you got?
Okay, bad news. Here we come. I don't have a lot of bad news because I was looking for things because the news itself is so depressing. But this one just kills me. I mean, why? This is from a story in Now This News, and it's about Arby's, and they're offering free tattoos inspired by their sandwiches. They include things like a hamburger dripping with cheese that has a ribbon around it that says, "We've got the meat." Imagine that on your arm. Or you can get a tattoo of curly fries or an Arby's sauce packet. Wouldn't that be fun? And they hired a tattoo artist named Michael Uzi Montgomery, and he designs and applies the tats at an event that's going to be held in Long Beach, California. Where else? And, you know, when Domino's offered tattoos of their logo in Russia, they offered free pizza for life to anybody who got them. You might think there wouldn't be too many people willing to literally brand themselves, and become like a walking billboard for fast food, but you would be wrong. There were so many people who wanted Domino's tattoos that they had to end the campaign in like 2 days instead of 2 months, because 381 people, mostly young people already covered in tattoos, qualified for the promotion in the 4 days that it ran. And, you know, bargains and freebies are powerful draws in Russia, according to the Wall Street Journal, because the stagnant economy there has left the average disposable income stuck around $500 a month. So Arby's is not offering free food for life. In fact, the only free food you're going to get from Arby's is at the sandwiches they have at the event. And so in a press release that I nominate to my list of press releases from hell, Arby's said that there were so many fans who are passionate about Arby's, and there's no stronger way to show your commitment than inking your body. Yuck. So the event happens on September 22nd, in case you want to go, in Long Beach, California's Port City Tattoo. And if you can't make it to Arby's and you're dying to have one of those tattoos, you can download the official tattoo sheet and bring it to your local tattoo shop, but you'll have to pay for it yourself.
Well, a lot of people like those curly fries, and they're pretty good. Yeah, so anyway.
That's disgusting.
Yeah.
But at least they could give you free pizza for a year or something.
Not pizza, not Arby's.
Well, free sandwiches, free. I don't know. I don't go to Arby's. What do they serve? What do they have?
Meat. They got the meats.
Yeah, that's why I don't go.
So my worst is what I've been doing for the past, I don't know, it feels like 5 months, but probably just 3 weeks or so. There's a reason that we haven't published for a couple of weeks. It's because we got hacked. And so we've cleaned it up. I'll tell you the story. We got a notice from Google via the Webmaster Tools console that the site might have been hacked. I actually noticed it in search because Google, when it thinks the site has been hacked, it puts a little notification in the search results next to the listing. that this site might be hacked, which is very useful. So that's actually how I noticed it. But I also got a notification from Google that it hadn't been hacked. So the hack either came in through a brute force attack, which is basically auto attempts at a bot attempting to log in automatically over and over and over again until it gets it right, or more likely a vulnerability in one of the plugins that we were using. So that can happen when developers aren't careful in their coding, or they don't keep up their code, update their plugins. And so what it was a URL injection attack. And what happens with that is basically they place hidden code that creates spammy pages to drive traffic to pages, in our case, about Viagra and other drugs. So it created these pages about Viagra on our site that had links to this other site that was trying to sell Viagra. So what I had to do was go out and back up the database, go out and strip out all the code that was injected into the site, delete any plugins we weren't using or that had been abandoned by developers. We changed the password of all of our users, which is just us, changed the password to the database itself, asked Google to remove the offending URLs via their Webmaster Tools console, but we're all up and running. It was a real pain in the ass, but we're back and live. I will mention that people should install the WordFence plugin, which monitors for such attacks, and then there's a malware plugin that you can use as well, and we'll put links to that in the show notes. But there you go.
Boy, Dave, I'm sure grateful that you knew how to do that. I mean, we would have been in really deep doo-doo if you didn't.
Yeah, it's a time suck, really.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't really harmful. Thankfully, it wasn't a malware attack where they're trying to force downloads on people, because that obviously affects people who visit your page. So it was just a spam attack, basically. But yeah, it's
awful.
Cleaning it up sucks.
Yeah. Well,
do you have another worse story? Anything worse than that?
I don't have anything worse than that, David. I mean, that's really bad news. Yeah. But there was this week there was a report that came out about the top 10 fields getting raises. And why this is in the bad part of the news is that marketing, PR, and journalism are not in the top 10 for raises. So if you were considering asking your boss for a raise and you work in marketing, you might be out of luck. When to help you assess the chances of getting a bigger paycheck, Finder.com analyzed data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics to uncover the careers most likely to provide pay increases. Top dog on the list, veterinarians, who are getting a 30% pay increase between 2016 and 2017, but nowhere, anywhere until the bottom were PR people, marketers, and journalists, and those raises were teeny weeny. And the study also covers the top 10 pay raises for women and for men. So we'll put a link to that study. And then, it's worth your time to know what you might be worth. And then related on the plus side, the good news is Siftly, which is a recruitment site, has salary reports, and some of for 2018, and that was based on a survey of several thousand people who are registered. And so some of the highlights, sadly, the numbers speak for a gender gap and a potential ethnicity bias. No real surprise there. Holding companies pay 9% better than independent shops. Smaller agencies pay 20% less than large agencies. And specialists like digital social strategists earn 16% less than generalists who are like account planners. The report provides you with salary data by gender, ethnicity, company type, agency size, location, seniority, and specialty. So needless to say, it's pretty damn thorough. And you get some insights on job satisfaction, job hunting status, bonus payouts, salary increases, and lots more. And the freelance rates, which are on pages 25 and 20 to 28 of the site, will come in handy in updating your freelance profile. So that's Siftly Now, Siftly Now, is for freelancers, and that's just getting going, and that's worth taking a look at too.
Very cool. You know, it does not surprise me that veterinarians are at the top of the list in terms of getting raises, because people are spending more money with vets because their pets are their family members. So if they get sick, then they're going to shell out. It's just a complete, I mean, you know, 20 years ago, that people wouldn't have that attitude towards their pets. So that has changed quite a bit.
It's true. I mean, especially, I mean, in New York, you know, Benny just turned 13, and I am thousands and thousands of dollars into Benny's healthcare. I give him, I think we're down to only about 12 pills a day and 43 kinds of supplements. And, you know, I mean, I have to soak something on him in Epsom salt every day. And you just do these things because it's a family member. It really is.
Yeah. So my other worst could be in the best too, but it's worse because of the nature of the story. This is from the New York Times. They did a video case study of the Tylenol poisoning case of 1982. So if you're too young to know about this, you should know about it.
Google it.
It is the absolute best case study about how to respond to a crisis. So in 1982, somebody snuck cyanide. They laced Tylenol tablets with cyanide, and 7 people died as a result. Tylenol's response is why the brand exists today. So this case study goes through that whole history and how Johnson & Johnson, the company that owns the Tylenol brand, responded. Briefly, though, they recalled all of their product. That is $100 million that they lost recalling the product. They stopped their advertising. They stopped their production of Tylenol, and realized that trust was in the packaging. So the product worked. It was just contaminated. Somebody laced it with cyanide. So the to build trust was to build the packaging so that it would create trust. So that's where the cotton ball and the foil covering of Tylenol, of all medicine now, the child-proof cap and the safety seal, that's where all that came from. And then the packaging for Tylenol became a competitive advantage. They reintroduced the product with that, regained everybody's trust, and it is, you know, to this day, a powerful brand. So we'll put a link to the video. We'll embed the video in the show notes so you can watch the entire case study. But if you don't know about it, you definitely need to.
That was a remarkable turn of events, you know, because there was no precedent for it at the time. Right. It wasn't like now when you know, things like this seem to happen pretty frequently, but the way they handled it was just sterling.
Yeah.
So I do not have any apps.
All right. And
I do not have any more bad news.
Yeah, you got a political thing you want to talk about, or no?
What?
Do you have a political story you want to talk about?
A political story, I do. Yes, thank you, Dave. The political story I want to talk about is somewhere. Wait a minute while I find it. And here we go. Okay, this is really very funny. It's a Bigfoot video attack ad. And the source of this is Ad Age, Simon Domenko. U.S. Senate candidate Dean Phillips of Minnesota takes aim at Representative Eric Paulson in this video featuring Bigfoot coming out of hiding to find Eric Paulson because everybody says you never can find him. And so Bigfoot decides that he's going to go to the headquarters of a big pharma company, and he's prepared to stay for however long it takes until he finally can spot and photograph Paulson. And it only takes 7 minutes, and Paulson comes walking through the lobby of this big pharma place. And Bigfoot says, you know, he went 7 years without holding a single town hall meeting, and he rarely appears in public, and he refuses to debate in the open and public forums where voters can see him. So Bigfoot came out to get him. And the only guaranteed way, he says, to meet Eric Paulson is pay $2,700 to join his Eagles club or offer him a $10,000 PAC check. It's very funny.
Yeah, Eric Paulson actually is my quote-unquote representative.
Oh, he's the one who banned you or so.
No. That was a state rep. This is my congressman. He doesn't represent me because he doesn't try. The ad you cite is entirely true. He hasn't held a town hall forum in public for anybody can remember. And what he does is, to get around it and say that he holds town hall forums, he holds town hall forums. And what that means is they robocall people in the district who are old and are at home during the day. So anybody who's working is not going to get the call, and most likely it's going to be somebody who's old and more conservative, and he's going to get a friendly audience. And then he holds a town hall forum, and they ask a couple of questions, and it's not public. It's a scam.
Scam, yeah, that's a scam.
So yeah, this ad is great. You got to see it. We'll put it in the show notes. So on with that. We skipped the apps or the cool stuff. This is not an app, but this is a great resource. It's called Really Good Emails. It is a curated index of great email designs by category. So you can choose transactional emails or promotional emails, holiday emails, a bunch of different, it's just chock full of all kinds of email designs for your inspiration. They have a podcast and a newsletter about email marketing and design. And the site itself, when you sign up for their newsletter, is a great example of how to do welcome emails when somebody signs up for your newsletter. And I'll share that in next week's podcast, so you can see that. But onto that, I got a project to talk about just briefly. I just relaunched my Minnesota Vikings chat website. So if you are a Minnesota Vikings fan out there, go there, minnesotavikingschat.com, and I'll talk about my favorite team. And then let's wrap this up with the daily numbers. This is, speaking of the NFL, Nike's Colin Kaepernick television spot, where they featured Colin Kaepernick, which created a bunch of controversy. People are talking about it. This is from a Media Post article by Joe Mandes. So Nike's campaign featuring Colin Kaepernick delivered a 2-to-1 ratio of earned to paid media. According to an analysis released by Cantor Media, while Nike spent about $4 million on paid TV advertising for the spot, it generated about $7.6 million in earned media value. So many people were talking about it. So many people were covering the story in the news that they generated that much more value out of the advertising spot than they did out of actually paying for the ads. So there you go.
That's a phenomenal, and also their stock went up 21%.
Yeah, and I have to go buy my Nike cap. I have yet to do that. So
yeah, and and Harvard just gave Colin Kaepernick and who else? Somebody else an honorary degree. Right. And yeah, so now conservatives will hate Harvard. You know, fine. Who needs you? Okay. So that brings us to the end of episode 241 of the Beyond Social Media show. And we're glad to be back. It was a long time we were gone. So thanks for watching tonight. And Dave Erickson is found on Twitter. He is at D Erickson. He's on Instagram as at D Erickson. He blogs at eStrategyBlog.com, which you should immediately go and read. I am BL Ochman. I'm on Twitter as at What's Next. I blog at What's Next Blog. I'm on YouTube as What's Next Blog. And my website is blochman.com. The show, Beyond Social Media Show, is at BeyondSocialMediaShow.com. We are on YouTube and we are on Twitter as BS Media Show, because we don't always want to take ourselves too seriously. We're on iTunes, BeyondSocialMediaShow.com, on iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and we will have the audio version of the show on all of those places that you can listen to on whatever device you like to listen to. And we'll be back next week. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.